child during the day, and maybe now they won't?
For me, we send our kids to school and we take tax dollars from everybody to make sure they get educated so they can be successful. And I think the not using a cell phone in the classroom for me sets that student up for success, and that's the main objective at the school. And so even in the case in an emergency, the National Association of School Resource Officers backed this concept, saying in an emergency situation, the administration needs to be in charge of the situation so that all students are where they're supposed to be, depending on a situation, emergency situation. At the perfect time, then students will have the opportunity to call their parents, but someone has to be in charge. And so that's the adults in the building to make sure that kids are following the protocol should there be an emergency.
This law addresses the use of personal devices in schools. Going forward, do you have an interest in considering looking at school issue devices and how they're used in the classroom, Chromebooks and tablets? I know Representative Tester is interested in this topic, but I'd like Senator, your thoughts on this.
Sure. Well, there's a growing, it's growing across the United States actually as we speak, that going back to books, hard copy books. And so that concept, we'll look at it, I'm sure. Representative Custer, you want to say something on that? Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's all right. I know we've talked about this, but look, I think it's very much worthwhile for us to look at this. I think there, as Senator Ross mentioned, there's a growing chorus of folks across the country, neuroscientists, educators, folks from different walks of life that are looking at device usage in a kind of a more holistic sense, right? And saying, okay, at what age should we introduce that? How often should students be using those devices, and for what types of activities, right? I think there's a concern about overly gamified types of activities during school versus something that's really meant to supplement the kind of core curriculum and instruction. There's questions about, again, the neuroscience of this and what are the effects on a developing brain being, in front of a device for a certain amount of time during the day, attention spans, all of those sorts of things. And so I think those are all worthwhile questions to dig in on, and I'm certainly digging in on that. I know Senator Ross and others are as well. And so, whether that materializes into something that's a piece of legislation next session, I don't know, but it's something that definitely looking at.
Governor Braun, some Democrats have raised concerns about the timeline of payments from the federal government to IDOC to hold undocumented immigrants at Miami. Do you have assurances from the federal government that we will receive those payments in a timely fashion?
We do, and I think that reporting might have been slightly off in terms of the timing of the last payment. So we knew it was going to be a 2, 3 to maybe 4 month lag, ideally 2 to 3 months, and we expect it to stay in that rhythm. So I don't think we're going to need to do any collection action on it. And I think it was off by maybe a month in terms of when the last payment had been received, but there's no issue there. It's been working smoothly, and we are a state that's in good shape financially, and I think it's an important function occurring there, and don't have any real concern that it's going to turn into something beyond that.
Got a question on this bill. Appreciate this. As a school person as well, are we going to extend this to the buses? There is more of a distraction on a school bus than in a classroom. And I'm wholeheartedly agree with you. Support this bill 100%. But can we get additions on the school bus?
Was there any conversation that came up as you guys are looking at the bill? But like I said earlier, those are the things you do on any piece of legislation. You take input, and they said that hadn't come up, but there's always next year to where you can look at something like that to see if it makes sense. And of course, you'd have parents then probably weighing in on that as well, since you're not in the classroom. But thanks for bringing it up.
About that system. Did you have any concerns about the State Board of Ed's plan that they sent to you, or any thoughts on the about that?
I think when it comes to accountability any of the techniques we're using. You've seen some of the results that are putting us in the top echelon. To me, accountability comes with anything. Accountability and transparency, so you can see it and understand it. And then I don't think any system can work without metrics and knowing that what you're doing is making sense, and always inviting kind of the critical analysis to make sure it's working and the results are really there. I'm going to trust the Secretary of Education, the boards that weigh into it. And to me, I'm always going to err on the side of more accountability, not less. Thank you all for coming in.